Hey guys, and welcome back to our Macadel online classes. Wow, it's been quite a long while, but I'm here. How you guys doing? How has it been? Um, I mean, a lot of things took over, and so I haven't done videos in quite a while, but I'm back now. So let's see how that goes. Anyway, so welcome back to class. My name is Nita, your physical and online instructor. All right, so someone had made a request, that I should do the Italian pattern, use it to make draft a pattern for a suit. Okay, so that's what I'm doing now. So basically what you're to do is to copy off your main pattern. Remember your main basic bodies. So you have your basic bodies, you copy it out. That's basically what I have done here. So you have the front here and you have the back this way. So now that I've copied it out, I'm going to show you how to, make your pattern out of it. You should have your book with you, or you should have a printout of it, because everything I'm going to do is going to come from your IL Modellismo. All right, so let's start. Okay, so like I said, we're going to work with this book. So whenever I'm pinning, mine is still pinned onto my main pattern, because I copied this out, but I haven't taken it off. As at now, you can take yours off, all right? So what you're going to do now, if you're going to make a suit, depending on what you're doing, if it's a single breasted or it's a double breasted, you have the two of them here in page 148. And 148 is for a blazer, single breasted, classic single breasted blazer, and 150 is for the classic double-breasted jacket. All right, so whatever you call it. So for this, I'm making a double breasted. Okay, but even if you're making a double breasted, you still have to you have to get the pattern from the single breasted done before you're able to move to the double breasted. Okay, and so they've told you that to draft the jacket, use the classic single breasted blazer, which is this, and trace the front and back joined. You have to trace them together. I did not. I chose not to have this part. Why I'm making this video is that you can decide to have them differently. You don't necessarily have to have this. So if you don't want to have this, then this part here is not going to be a part of what you're doing. Just copy your basic front. That's what I did, and copied my basic back. That's all. Okay. So I'm just teaching you the tips and tricks of making my jacket. If I don't want it to be a full jacket like this, but it's going to look like what you're seeing in the picture. Okay, so you're going to trace the front and the back joint, then calculate half of the bust circumference plus ease allowance plus some cm for discarded fabric. Now, the ease allowance can vary according to your fabric and how you desire it. So if you want it to be fitted, you don't need to add all of this. I didn't want mine to be extra fitted, so I added about 5 cm, to make it more, to give me more ease. You can do that. Okay, so that's basically it. And then, because you're going to be working with this, now I have copied my basic front and back. So basically what's left for me to do is just to contour the back, and then I'll move to create the collar. All right, now I'm going to contour the back and show you the way I want it to be, and then we'll move to the front. Now, to create this collar is to draw where you have your G to G1. It says to draw the collar as shown on page 32. That's the classic single-breasted collar. So to create the collar, you're going to see me go back to, so whatever collar you want. If you want this, this is a single-breasted collar, you're going to go back there, and it says 32. So this is it. But 32 is a classic shawl collar. It's not what I want, okay? I want the classic single-breasted collar, which is on page 34. That's where you're going to go to. So we'll go here when I'm ready, but for now, let us create our back. So whatever you want to do to your back is here. It tells you to come down to B2, and then you're going to come in at your D point, which is your waist area. You're going to come in 2 cm, and at the down part, you're going to also come in 2 cm. It's just to give it that fitting at the back. So it all depends on, most times I decide not to come in down here, and I'll just come in and join it back. So at this time, you have to be creative. It depends on what you want. So if you want it like this, you can actually just take it all the way down, right? But when you do this, take into consideration that you calculate everything back and make sure that you have the same thing. You know, you have your hip plus your 5. Listen to this video again. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so, because I'm going to bring you a whole lot of, good stuffs like this, and you won't want to miss it. All right. So, like I said, you're going to come in at the waist at your D point 2, and you're coming in at your hip point 2 cm as well. Don't forget, if you come in 2, make sure that by the time you calculate your whole length, you're still having your round circumference divided by 2. It's exactly what you're going to have here. You can decide to come in or not to come in. Now, I decided not to come in, so you have a choice. But what I'm saying is that if you come in, please make sure you calculate everything and you have it the same. Even here that I came in, I still made sure I calculated everything. I'll show you how to, just to make sure that you have the same thing, okay? So I'm going to do that, and then we'll move to our collar. This is my back, right? As you can see. Okay, so now if I move this forward, this is where my E is, and this is where I'm meant to come in 2 cm and come in here 2 cm, right? But I don't want to come in 2 cm. That is my choice, because that's the way I've made jackets for over 10 years plus, so I know what I want. So you can follow the book if you're not sure what you want, but at the end of the day, make sure that what you have, when you take your measurement, you're having exactly what you need. Okay, so here at this point, I'm going to come in 2 cm and I will mark. Now, the book tells you that you should come down all the way and start from here to create, your cinching to your waist and bring it, like, to give you that fitted, so that your back doesn't bulge. That's exactly what that is. But you can follow exactly what is in the book. You can also follow what I'm doing. It's all fine. Okay. So from my B1, so you can come totally from, I just want to make sure that my line is straight, from your B1, or the book says you should come down, I think, to about 8 cm or thereabouts. Just follow what it says. I would take 7 cm in my own case, okay? And I'll take the line up to there. So for me, I'm not totally taking it to 2. You can do that if you want to. It doesn't matter, okay? So I'm just taking mine to the end, okay? Like so. So like I said, it depends on the kind of style you're making. This is my style. She's putting her hand in her pocket at the princess seam. So you can have the princess seam and have it at the back if you want to. Like I said, I may not have anything at the back. I may just have it at the front. Okay, so I'll just have just my back cut at the back and have my dark as it is, and that is all. But if you want to create a princess, illusion like this at your back and at your front, you're going to be working with the tailored princess jacket. Okay, so I'm going to be creating mine just at the front, because I'm using a checked fabric and I don't want it having too many cuts. Okay. For the back, the only thing I'm going to now do at the back is going to increase the shoulder, for my shoulder pad to fit in. That is basically it. And then I may, like, if I want to, I can take up this line a bit. It depends on what you want. And I can also bring it all the way down, to the end of the fabric. It all depends on what you want. Okay, so let's just extend the shoulder. Let's extend the shoulder for the shoulder pad. So what I'll do here is to come up, or 1 cm rather. Let's do 1 cm. The book says 1 cm, okay? And I will mark, okay? So once I do that, I'll just extend this up, and then I will take it back to my neck line, like so. Can you see that? So I've extended this to give me space for my shoulder pad, and my back of my suit is ready. So it's just a simple suit I'm teaching you how to do. So it's just to tell you that to make the Italian suit is very easy. It's nothing much, okay? So if you can see that, our back is ready. All right. Okay. So we're going to move to the front. Basically, what you have here is just the armhole and all of that. So I'm going to move this so you can really see what I'm doing. Now, if you notice, I've extended this all the way up so that we can create our neckline. Okay. This is where you have to follow everything your book says word for word. So I'm working with the single breasted, but I'm doing a double breasted. Like I'm extending my button points because I want it to be double breasted. All right. If you're doing the single breasted, it tells you to, from your D, come out just 2 cm. Depends on what you want, right? You can even do more than that. Extend it for your button stand. Okay. So now I want to extend mine. So for mine, I'm going to be using 6 cm to extend my button stand. Okay. So I've marked it as 6, and I want my fold, my point O, which is your fold point, right, to be at my waistline. Some of them will tell you can make it below just your bust point, but I don't like my fold because that's your fold point on the collar, right? Just like I'm showing you in this picture. I don't like my fold point being somewhere here. I prefer my fold point to be at my waist. So anywhere you want your P point rather to be, you can take a point for that, okay? I'm using my waist. So at that point, you also extend it by whatever measurement you're extending this point, okay? I'm also still using 6. This is my D. So from my D to my D3, we'll call this D3. And this is from my E to my E3 as well, okay? So I'm extending that line to meet up with where I marked it. Okay. And I'm doing the same thing here. And then I'm going to join it together so you can see. So because I'm doing a double breasted, that is why I'm using it this wide. All right. So I'm going to have a button here. 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 I'm going to have another one here. Now, depends, that's just it. So that's why I'm using it that wide. So we're done with the button stand. Now we're going to move on to constructing the collar. To construct the collar, first off, it says, we've done the D to D3 where it says square right. That's for your single breasted. And D3 to P is the next thing we want to do. So we have your D3, to P. So that's like from whatever this is to where you want it to stop. But in my own case, my P stops where my D3 is. That is your fold point. Please understand that. You may choose for your fold point to stop somewhere here, just under your under bust. That's going to be your P point, meaning that this your P point is going to be at this point. So this your straight line is meant to meet up with where that is. If you check your book, is exactly what I'm explaining. All right. So now it says you're going to square up. I have already squared up to what I want. So you can square up to that point, 16 cm. That is your break point. That's where your fold, that fold is really going to show. That is the break point for that fold. Okay. So the next thing it says is G to G4. Now we are coming up here. Okay. This is your G. At this point, I want us to use a red. So remember when you were drafting your pattern, that is your G. Okay. So it says your G to G4, you're going to find your G5. It says move right 1.5. Okay. So from where this G is, watch what I'm doing. It says you should move right 1.5. Move to your right 1.5 and mark. Okay, that is now my G4. So the next thing it says is that you're go and join to the point and join to point P. That is the row line. So now this is my own point P, right? And I'm supposed to join this new line I have made to this my point P. And if you look at it, what I always do at once is that I extend it up because I know that there's going to be a line going on. So you can do that or you can choose not to. But let's just follow the book so you don't get confused. All right. So it says join. So now I'm going to just join it. So I have joined it. Okay. Says don't get confused. I'm using red so you can see what I'm doing. Just follow it step by step. Subscribe to my channel, guys, if you haven't. And I'll be very grateful when you do that. All right. So I've joined that. So after joining that, so we call that the roll point. All right. Roll line. So it says G4. Don't forget this is our G4. Okay. You can put down there G4. G4 to R. Okay. So you have your G4 going to R. That was the line I said for me. I would have just extended it. All right. G4 to R, extend the line the same amount as your back neckline measurement plus 0.5. So extend it the amount of your back neckline plus 0.5. So you're going to take your tape, place it like so. You're measuring this line to this point. That's your back neckline. Okay. So I'll place my tape in cm, follow it, curve, and check what I have. So I have 9.3. So it says 9.3 plus 0.5, right? So I'm going to be having 9.8. It's that 9.8 that, note it, you have 9.8. You can write it down. Most times I just put it down there so I don't forget. I'll come back here and measure my 9.8. Okay. And I'll mark it 9.8. Okay. So I'm going to extend this line, this row line that we did to the 9.8. Okay. So just make sure that the line, that's why for me, I always just draw the line. Since I'm working with a pencil, I can clean it up because the line must actually follow. It can't be more than, it can't be less than. Okay. So once you're done with that, it now says R to R1. Okay. This is your R now. And it says R to R1. You're going backwards. Okay, say square left 1.5 cm and join to point G. This is your G, don't forget. Okay, so you're going to make sure that whatever you have here, if you had 1.5, make sure it's exactly the same thing, so that you don't have issues with the color. So whatever you have here, 1.5, you're going to make sure that is exactly the same thing that you also have here. Okay, if you notice what I did there was just to put a dot. I need this line to be exactly the same. So I'll use my straight line on this ruler, place it here to make sure that I'm having the very same thing. Okay. So once it's straight, I am sure. You cannot just have any funny looking line here. Everything has to be the same. I'll use this line also and place it to make sure that what I'm having is also a straight line. So what am I saying? Everything for a color must go right, like must really come out perfect. Okay. So once I'm sure I got it, so look at that. I've joined it. Please watch this video. Take your time. It's as easy as that. Making a suit with Italian pattern. I mean, you can see this. It's super. All right. So we're done with that. And the next thing it says is R1. So this is now our R1, right? So it says R1 to R2. if you look at your picture, you're going to see it says R1 to R2. We're coming this way. And it says move right 7.5 cm in square with the straight line G to R1. So you're moving this, make sure that is in square with this line. So this line must be perfect. Okay. So say 7.5. 7.5 is cm, but I used 10. Now it depends. This now depends on the color design you're working with. I'm going to make sure that from here to I have 10. Okay, so that I have a straight. So like I said, all this depends on the kind of color you're working with. This is the color we're working with that you're seeing. Okay, so I'll place my straight line again to make sure that what I'm having here is really, really straight. Okay, I've marked where my 10 cm is going to be, is here. So I'll connect the line like so. Okay, and I'm also to make sure that whatever I have from here to here is the same thing I'm having from here to here. So I'll check. What I have from here to here is about, in my own case, is about 9.5. Yeah, so I'll come here, make sure that I have 9.5. I'm having that. And you close that up. Have you seen what I have there? So that's exactly what you're meant to have, right? So here is your R2, and here is your R3, okay? And then you're going to make sure you come up at this point about 2 cm. Sometimes you can do 1.5 because that's going to be your cut line, because you're going to move this collar to give you the exact thing that you need. Okay, so I'm coming 2 cm. I'll just mark a dot. So when you mark a dot, you're going to call that your R4. So just come up from here, come up 2 cm, 1.5 to 2 cm. Just go up and mark that dot and call it your R4. So the next thing you're going to do is, it says G4 to Q. Don't forget that this is your G4 here. G4. So Q is on this row line, right? And it says move down the row line 1/6 plus 1 cm. Don't let it confuse you. It means you're going to measure your row line from R, that is your row line, to P, okay? And divide it by 6. In my own case, I have 60, and then you now divide that by 6, okay? So I have 10. So whatever you have from G4, you're going to place your tape, measure it down, and that is going to be your Q, okay? So I'll mark a point there, and that is my Q. Can you see that? It's not confusing. Follow this as, easy as you can. So the next thing it says, don't add the 1 cm. Okay, now if you want to add the 1 cm, let me teach you 2 tricks to it, okay? If you come from here, from R down, and measure it and divide, don't add any 1 cm. If you come from here, you're going to have, like in my own case, I think I have about 55. So when I divide it, I'm going to have 9.1, and I'm going to add 1 cm. I'm going to have the same thing. Okay, so the next thing is Q to P1. Now, this is my Q to my P1. It says move down 3 cm. Now, it is not a fixed measurement. So this all depends on whatever design that you're going to be creating with your suit. To P1, this is my Q, right? Come down 3 cm, which is just somewhere at this point, all right? And I've marked my 3 cm. So that is your P1, okay? The next thing it says is P1 to P2. Your P1 is going to come out to your P2. And it says square right 10 cm from the row line. It is not a fixed measurement. So that's what I'm trying to explain. It's not a fixed measurement, right? It all depends on the design you are creating. That is it. So Mine, I'm doing more than 10 cm because my collar is actually massive. It's massive, baby. All right, so you can come out 10 cm. I'm coming out about 15 cm in my own case, right? Because that's where I want it to be, okay? So you're going to now rule a line from that P1 to that 10 cm that you came out. Can you see that? So basically, it's just a guideline. That's why I don't really want to use my, the marker to have too much. It's a guideline to help you. All right. So once you do that, it says, now join P2, right? That is your P2. What I've done here now becomes my P2. So join your P2 to B. Remember that this is your B here. Okay, don't forget that this was your B line. Now is your B line. So he says you should join this to this. Okay, so I'm going to do that now. So can you see that? So like I said, this is just a guide for you. So join your P to your B. We've done that. Use a curve to connect points P2 to P. Remember that this is your P2 and it says use a curve to connect this. You can use a curve. It depends on the style you're working with. I wasn't really working with the style. I needed to use a curve, so I'm going to be using my straight rule. You don't have to use your straight rule, like I said. Please, you can use a curve. The book says use a curve, use a curve. But it depends on what style. If you can see that my own collar is actually large, that's the design I'm working with. So you can use a curve. So when you're using a curve, you look at it in the book just shows you, you're going to make it, see how I kept this ruler? Just a bit curvy. It just gives you that beautiful look. Look at this. So if I chosen to, this is just what I'll have. It's to just give me that nice, beautiful, curvy look. Do you get? But I don't want a curve. I just wanted it to be a straight row. All right. So let's proceed. So the next thing it says P2 to P3. So you have your P2 here and to P3. P3 is going to be somewhere inside. And it says move 4 cm through line B. This is line B. Please listen to me. It says this is your P2. To get your P3, you're going to move inside 4 cm through this line B. Okay? So take your tape and you measure your 4 cm, all right, and mark. Like I said, when you continue making suits, after a while, you get used to it. So you will actually adjust it the way you want yours to look. Now, I'm going to show you one trick when we're done, how you fold it and then use it to decide, do I want to make it larger? Do I want to make it smaller? It's all part of it, okay? And then the next thing it says is, and join to B. So that I have done. And it says G to R3. This is R3. I had already done that. So it says parallel with R1 to R2, which is what I did here. So, you're meant to have brought this line, keep this open, but you're to join it. So that's basically join it and make sure it's parallel. This line is parallel to this line, R1 to R2. All right. So the next thing it says P3 to P4. These are P3 here. Let's not forget, I didn't label that. You have your P3 at this point. Okay, that's your P3. So it says your P3 to P4, you're going to move 4 cm. You're still going to move again 4 cm. Okay, but like I said, for me, I'm going to use a pencil because in my own case, I made it longer. Once you get to understand it, you will, do it right. Because like I said, it all depends on your design. My design is actually wider, so I will have to extend mine eventually. So what you do is draw a line. Have you seen that? So just draw from here, from your P3 to connect to here, and you have your P4 at this point. All right? Okay, so we're almost done. And the next thing it says is connect point R2. So just like you're just coming like this, you already have your R2. Connect point R2, R3, 2P4. So if you look at your book, it's going to just show you that seed diagram. So all what you do is take your curve, put it that way, and then connect it. Just make sure that it stays nicely. Can you see that? So that it flows. We have what you have exactly in the book. Okay? That is it. So you were just to connect this together. It's as easy as that. And you are almost done. So the next thing it says is R3 to R4. Don't forget, you have your R3 to R4. It says measure up 1.5. Some other people tell you to, that's the part I was telling you. Come up from here, from your R3, come up 1.5 or come up 2 cm. It depends on what you're doing. I've done this over the years, so I know what I'm working with, so I know how wide I want it to be, okay? So it says measure up 1.5 cm. It is not a fixed measurement. Now use this as a reference point for your rotation, which I'm going to teach you now, of the back collar. Copy the red square. Look at your book. You're going to see the red square. We're going to copy this out. That's what it says. Copy the red square and rotate it left 1.5. You had used 2 cm. When you copy, rotate it 2 cm. Okay? Using G as a pivot point. This is your G. So you're going to use G as a pivot point. All right? So you move 4 cm along the shoulder length. That's going to be for your facing. I'll show you that when we are done. And then D to D4, you have your D here, is the same thing. Move left 5 cm and join. That's just to create your facing. I will show you all of that when we're done with this. So the next thing you're going to do here is to get another paper. You're going to get a piece of paper and copy out this box. Just this box like this. That's what you're going to do. So all what you do is just cut out a paper enough to give you the square that you want, okay? So see what I'm doing? I'm just placing the paper here. And I'm going to copy what I have here. G here. I'm just marking the dots. Then I'll mark it and know that this is my neck area. Okay? And I'll know that this is my, so let's say shoulder rather. So you don't get confused. This is my shoulder area. This is up. It's just for me to know. Okay? So I will now join up the lines. Okay? So now that I've done that, I'm going to trim it off. Please watch this part very well. Okay. So remember, it says you should, this is, if I'm saying that this is my shoulder, this is my point G. Note just all of that and know that this is the up part. So it says you're going to bring it. Now, I can as well just draw a line as a guide. Where you have your R4, can just use your pencil mark and draw a line as a guide, okay? So now you're meant to have this. Remember what it says, that you should make sure that this your pivot point, this is G. Now this is how this is. This is how the normal collar is, isn't it? It's fitted in. Now we're going to pivot it at this point and make sure this tip here touches your R4 while the G stays at this point. So normally you're just meant to pin it down, okay? I'm going to cut some of this and keep so that I can easily use it. Okay, so now I've made sure that this stays here and I'm going to pivot. I'm just turning only this part. Don't let this G move. Let it stay. All right. I'm going to turn this part till I get to that, my 1.5 or 2 cm, whatever you did. And this is it. Okay. While my G has not moved. All right. Can you see that? So once you've done the pivot, you're going to Just put that down. Can you see? So now that is your new color. This doesn't matter again. You clean this off. It's not part of this whole business anymore. Okay. So this is not part of this again. That is off. So the next thing you're to do is to redraw your line to make sure that is all you're going to do. Is pick up your curve, place it, and make sure that you blend. It's just to blend. I'm just blending it. Okay. That is all. So just blend it and make sure that this line flows together. And that is all. So the only other thing you're going to do is make sure that you have your notch marks, because when we are copying this, I'm going to be showing you the different parts we are going to copy out. So you're going to have your notch mark in all the important places. So we're going to be having a notch mark here, like that. You can use your ruler, please, to do your notch mark. You're going to have a notch mark here so that you know that, okay, that part is going to be joining with this part. You're going to also have a notch mark here so that you know that this will be joining with this part. So it's all those notch marks are very, very important. Okay. So the final thing we are going to do is extend this your line, extend your dart line all the way down to the end. So I'm going to do that and show you. Next thing we're going to do is to extend this down, because we are going to be having a princess cut. Okay, so what you do is take a measurement of what you have and make sure that I use my ruler. With the way I'm doing this, I know that I have to take it, like it's okay going down, all right, and extend that down. You can also create your dart to go, like, if you can take this all the way this way, take this all the way that way if you choose to. Okay. All right, so don't forget that we had extended the back shoulder, right? So that we'll be able to have our shoulder pad fitting. We need to do the same thing to the front. Now, for you to do that, you're going to have to close your dart, your shoulder dart. Just okay. So you can't do that with your shoulder dart open, all right? So once you've closed your shoulder dart, the back, we did 1 cm. We're going to also make sure that the front, we're also marking it at 1 cm, okay? That is to create the space for our shoulder dart. And you also make sure that you join it back to your point G, okay? That's to your neck joining, all right? So that is it. So it's good to close it, because that's the only way you're sure of what you're doing, right? So closing it has helped. And you join that back up. Please use your ruler, and this comes up. So that is what you're going to have there, right? And then, of course, don't forget that, like I said, you have your princess line coming all the way down. Now, because you have your princess line, you can actually use this same part, because you're going to copy this part separately out. You're copying this separately. So when you're copying this, you're going to copy it for your main fabric and copy it for your facing. You're going to copy this for your main fabric and copy for your lining. Okay? You're going to copy this out separately. That is your side front. That is your side front. So you're going to copy this side front out separately and cut for the main fabric and cut for your lining fabric. But here, your CF, don't forget this is your CF, your center front. is going to be all of this. All of this. This is the color. This color is going to be copied out separately. Okay? All of this way is going to be copied out separately. When I'm copying it, I think probably I'll show you. I don't know, but I mean, you can also find your way around it. You're just copying your color. Follow what I'm tracing. See this thing looking like this? This is where you're copying. You're copying this as a separate piece. Then you're copying this, all of this, as a separate piece. But this CF you're copying, you're going to cut a facing for it, which is the same fabric as the your main material. But when you're copying this SF, you're cutting it on your main fabric and a lining fabric. For the back, all of it is going to be your main fabric and your lining fabric. It's only your CF that has the same fabric, you know, that you're using for your, if you're mixing colors, you use the other color for the other side, use one for the main. That is basically it, okay? So it's as easy as that. Try to put all your notch marks in place so that when you're joining, you know what goes where and all of that. Those are the essence of having your notch marks, right? And then label your pattern. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't. And if you have any questions or what you're not clear with, leave it for me in the comment section down below. We have our online classes going on for the Italian pattern. I've created it like a live Zoom class, so you can also have a live class with me on Zoom. And I'll be teaching this as well. So you're having the online class, you're having a Zoom meeting with me. I'm drafting it in your presence through the Zoom classes. So if you're interested in it, send me a DM or drop a comment and I'll always get back to you. And we also have a lot of things coming up, which I will, let you know as time goes on. But if you haven't subscribed to my channel, you need to, so you don't miss all of these things, because I'm bringing a lot. So like I said, wherever you're not clear, drop a comment for me in the comment section down below. Don't forget, like I said, you're going to be having your buttons at this point. I'm going to show you how I'm going to make the suit as well. When I cut it, I'll show you. When I'm making it, I'll show you as well. I'm just trying to make this video not long, but of course, it's a suit, it's a jacket, so it has to be long. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, once again, do so, guys. It doesn't cost you anything. Just punch on that subscribe button. Get people to subscribe. Move me up so that I can do more for you as well. All right. Okay, my name is Nita, as usual, your physical and online instructor, and I'll be seeing you in our cutting class.